from the 1st of May, which is now only days away, the way that you manage your rental property in the UK is changing completely. And I don't say that lightly. This is the biggest shift in landlord legislation in decades, and actually since the 1988 Housing Act. And yes, I'm old enough to remember the Act coming into place. If you own a rental property, whether that's just one flat or indeed a full management portfolio, what you don't know now can cost you thousands, quite literally up to £40,000 per property. So in this video, I'm going to try and break it down, and in plain English too. So what's changing and what actually means for you, and most importantly, what you should be doing right now. I'm Sean Porter, Director at Porter's John Dean Estate Agents. We're an independent, family-run firm with over 40 years' experience, and we can trace our heritage back to 1879. And we've been preparing our landlords for this for the last 4+ years. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with the biggest headline. Section 21s are gone. No more no-fault evictions. Up until now, landlords have always had the safety net, the ability to regain possession of their property without giving a specific reason. Well, that disappears on the 1st of May. So going forward, if you want your property back, you must have a legally valid reason. Now, this includes selling the property, moving a family member in, serious rent arrears, or indeed antisocial behaviour. And that's it. Now, let me translate what that really means for you. You are no longer in control of timing in the same way that you were previously. For example, let's say your tenant is fine. They're paying the rent. There's no issues. But suddenly you decide you want to sell. Previously, Section 21, straightforward. Now, you need to follow a specific legal ground and with evidence and go through a formal process. That takes time, and if you get it wrong, it can be rejected. This is where we're already seeing landlords getting caught out. Now, at Porter's John Dean Estate Agents, we're already restructuring how we manage tenancies to protect our landlords in advance, not react after the problem. Next, and this one is huge, and a lot of landlords still don't fully understand it. There are no more fixed-term tenancies. From the 1st of May, every tenancy becomes periodic, and that means rolling month to month. No fixed end date, no natural break point. And this applies to new tenancies and existing tenancies. They automatically convert. You don't need to do anything, but that's exactly why it's dangerous, because you don't understand what's changed. You're exposed. Here's what this really means in practice. Tenants can leave with notice. That hasn't changed. But for landlords, you no longer have that built-in control point at the end of a fixed term. And let's look at an example. So previously, you might plan ahead. This tenancy ends in June. I'll review then. That structure has gone. Now it's continuous, which means your strategy has to change. At Porter's John Dean, we're already advising landlords on how to structure their tenancies properly under this new system. Because if you treat it like the old system, it will catch you out. Let's talk about rent, because this is another area where landlords are going to get into trouble if they're not careful. From the 1st of May, you can only increase rent once a year, and you must use a formal Section 13 notice. You must give 2 months' notice, and here's the key part most people are missing. tenants can challenge the increase. If they believe it's above market rate, they can take it to tribunal. So gone are the days of, let's just increase the rent and see what happens. Now it has to be justifiable, evidence-based, market aligned, and properly documented. So, for example, if you increase rent by, let's say, £200, but the market only supports £100, the tenant can challenge it, and you may lose. That's why we're doing detailed rental valuations for our landlords now. We're not just guessing it. We're using real-time market data from hundreds of sources to qualify our rent reviews. Because getting this wrong isn't just awkward anymore, it's legally risky. This one is very clear. Bidding wars are now illegal. You cannot encourage offers above the asking rent. You can't accept offers above the asking rent, or even hint that higher offers would be considered. This is now a criminal offence. Yes, a criminal offence. Not a warning, not just a slap on the wrist, but a criminal offence. So if you're used to saying, we've had a lot of interest, best offers please, that stops now. At Porter's John Dean Estate Agents, we've already adjusted how we market properties to ensure full compliance, because this is exactly the kind of thing councils will enforce heavily. Pets. Where do we stand on pets? Well, tenants now have the legal right to request a pet, and you must respond, within 28 days. You cannot unreasonably refuse a tenant's request either. Now, this doesn't mean you have to accept every pet, but it does mean that you need to have a valid and reasonable justification. You can't just say no. And you need to also handle it properly. This is where experience really matters, because the difference between a reasonable refusal and an unlawful one is not always obvious. And again, this is where we guide landlords through each case individually. Excuse me. This is where it gets serious. Fines are increasing, and they're increasing dramatically. We're talking from £7,000 up to £40,000. And councils now have mandatory enforcement powers. That means they are required to act. This isn't a theory, this will be enforced. And in most cases, fines come from simple mistakes, a lack of awareness, or outdated processes, not intentional wrongdoing. That's why getting ahead of this is critical. Importantly, councils have now been given an extra £40 million to use these enforcement powers. You may say, but my council are lazy. They won't enforce, or they do not have staff to enforce. Well, from May the 1st, proactive councils can cross boundary lines to imply enforcement. Yes, that's right. Wandsworth, Lambeth, Merton and Southwark can go anywhere to follow up and impose fines. If a council is short on cash, you can bet your bottom dollar they will see landlords as easy money. Now, here's a point that most landlords have completely missed. You are legally required to give every existing tenant a government information sheet by the 31st of May 2026. It's not optional. If you don't do it, you're in breach. In fact, your tenancy is technically in breach from the 1st of May 26. It's as simple as that. We are already handling this for all of our managed landlords, making sure it's issued correctly and it's been recorded, and we will record it for 6 years on our specialist software. Because again, if it's not just about doing it, it's about proving you've done it. You must have that evidence. So let me be very clear. This isn't about panic. but it is about preparation, because landlords who are proactive now will be absolutely fine. Landlords who ignore this will get caught. At Porter's John Dean Estate Agents, we've been doing this for over 40 years. We're a family-run independent business, and our team has been consistent for years, not constantly changing like the big corporate agents. We know our landlords, we know our tenants, and we know how to navigate change like this properly. If you're already a Porter's John Dean landlord, this is exactly what we're here for. We're handling this. We are preparing your tenancies. We are making sure that both you and your property are compliant. But if you're not currently working with us and you're unsure whether your property is compliant under the new rules, then you need to act now. We're offering a compliance check for landlords. There's no obligation. We'll review your current setup and tell you exactly where you stand. Because right now, with these changes coming in just days, guessing is not a strategy. Click one of the links below in the comments, or just make a comment of help. Book a call or send us a message. We'll make sure you're protected, because the rules have changed, and the landlords who adapt quickly will be the ones who stay successful. Thank you for watching our Porter's John Dean Estate Agents video, and do keep watching for further updates on the Renters' Right Act, which comes into force on the 1st of May 2026. Thank you.